Hey, this is Andy Belanger, and you're watching Comics Asylum.
So, Andy, what spurred you to start your own studio?
Oh, when you're in comic books, the studio environment's really important because it's where you basically build a network. So having other comic book artists around you all the time is very healthy when it comes to sharing stuff like resources, rent. I'm not a guy that believes in working out of your house. Like I do work out of my apartment, but I don't really. I believe you should have an office as well to keep those things separate, like my work life and my home life separate to an extent. But the studio system is really important because that's where, if you're starting in comics, you get to learn comics. So you're working basically like a mentorship program without, being an official mentorship program. So when I was living in Toronto and I joined Raid Studio, there was already like 10 guys there that worked for Marvel and DC. And I wanted to work for Marvel and DC for my career. So joining that studio was key to me starting my career. That's where I learned to make comics. That's where I learned to network. That's where I learned, what comic shows to go to, which publishers were really good at paying, which publishers weren't good at paying. Um, it's how we stay alive, basically. If you're always working at home by yourself, you're very easy to get sort of like bamboozled. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of pitfalls in there where if you're in a community of creators while you're working, it's easier to survive.
So, I see that you have an extracurricular activity that you do as well on top of doing comics.
Oh yeah.
Explain a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I moved to Montreal in 2012 and I started, Montreal's a really funny city because next to hockey, one of the biggest sport is wrestling. So there's maybe like, I don't know, 100 little wrestling feds all in a, 100-kilometer radius of us. So I started going to live wrestling events like indie events and just like loving it. And I started doing t-shirts and posters and all kinds of stuff for them. And then a school opened up with IWS. And I would say that IWS is probably like the biggest, most famous Canadian like indie fed. So they started a school and like I'm a bigger guy. So it was really fun. So I got into it and yeah, I've been a professional wrestler for 10 years now. And currently like the tag champ. So that's really cool. Yeah,
So, speaking of which, did that spur the idea to create Mother Trucker?
absolutely. Yeah, so before I was even a wrestler, I was writing Mother Trucker. And it had another name. It was called Truck Off. And the main character, which is my next book, is going to be Truck Off. I've already so I've written I think 12 issues of Truck Off, and the main character of that is a guy named Big Rig, and Big Rig has a wife named Mother Trucker, and when I was living in Italy, Charlotte Flair had like come onto the scene with WWE, and I just thought Charlotte Flair was like the greatest like athlete wrestler I'd ever seen. So I just kind of like, while I was living in Italy and reading a lot of European comics, I switched over to Mother Trucker, at least for the first 4 books. And then it's going back to Truck Off. So yeah, that's sort of my wrestling world. But I basically, the whole time I was getting into wrestling, it was to like learn about, the back end world of wrestling. It has its own language, it has its own dramas, like, and I wanted to bring that into like a comic book, but I didn't want to do it in a way that was just like normal. Like the contemporary just wrestling stories in the wrestling like environment, just it's not that interesting to me. So I made it in space with transforming trucks. I just thought it was way cooler.
What else can we expect from the studio, Lethal Comics, right
Oh,
now? I saw that you had an expanded Kickstarter that's just about to start.
yeah. So we
I
have
like that a little bit.
we're becoming a full-fledged publisher now. We have a head editor. And then we have a few employees that work for us for, like handling the Kickstarters and shipping and all the rest of that stuff. So our main titles are Death Transit Tanager by Cole Kershaw. I'm doing Mother Trucker. Wes Craig is now part of Lethal Comics, and he has a comic we're about to launch called Thunderhead, which is basically superheroes on acid. So in the 60s, the MK Ultra trials that they did in this particular story turned them into superheroes. So it's a pretty funny story. I really dig it. And then Carl and I are co-writing a ninja comic together because we're really big fans of the old like canon ninja movies, like Revenge of the Ninja and Enter the Ninja, all the Shokazuki movies. So we're currently writing like a ninja comic because we don't think there's enough ninja comics. And then I have a comic that I've been writing for a few years that we just got an artist in Singapore for called BMXV. And BMXV is basically like 80s BMX vampires. So it's kind of like Lost Boys with BMX bikes. It's kind of like sports manga with horror. Yeah, so that's what we have going on right now. It's like a full-fledged publisher. It's gonna be really good. 2026 is gonna be a really big year for us. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Great deal, Andy. And good luck with everything that you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much.